Hey, we're here. We are here. So, I like to call
Hello, Answers in Atheism side chat.
Hi, yeah. We got Stephanie, we got Pragmatic Crystal, we got Icarus who keeps fucking his name up and doing Greek. Stop that.
I know.
Nerdy Rodent.
I can't tag him anymore unless he does his alternate account.
I know. It's just like, come on, dude.
I don't know how to type Greek letters.
Yeah, I don't either.
It doesn't even recognize the I or the it's just the little IntelliSense doesn't pop up.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna do the old-fashioned one and hope he reads it.
We got here. Let me see. So, reason we have gathered together is Dr. Becky.
Does there have to be a reason necessarily?
Oh yeah, we need reasons. we're reasonable people, man. We like reasons.
I suppose so.
So, Dr. Becky is wrong about data for the expanding universe. Now, do you know what Dr. Becky's credentials are? I believe that Dr. Becky is an astrophysicist, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Becky from she's an astrophysicist from Oxford, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying, as far as I'm aware, her or something related to that was on black holes, massive black holes specifically.
Yeah, what about this Dr. Becky here on the screen?
Ooh, not so doctory.
So what's her...
I just realized their names are the same.
The second Dr. Becky. Dr. Becky who not only has disproven all of evolution but now all of cosmology, right? Modern cosmology. The thing to point out about Dr. Becky the second here, we'll call her Dr. Becky the second, is that she referenced nobody but Eric Lerner in her papers. You know, every time she said wrong, it was Eric Lerner.
To strike up a red flag.
Yeah, and if you go and do a search on how Eric Lerner's work has been perceived, I think the words cherry picking, incomplete data, myths, bad calculations, a whole bunch of other stuff comes up, and he likes to find those one-off things, right, and try to prove the whole thing's wrong.
Oh yeah,
he's like the Michio Kaku of other people who want to be wrong.
Yep.
Well, he's like, I don't know this. I guess Michio Kaku is wrong, but he's just like he's a part of the Michio Kaku club. He wants attention, and he doesn't mind being wrong to get it.
Yeah. I mean, we're all wrong about something. It just matters how we get to that point and how we deal with it, I guess.
Is Michio Kaku that wrong all the time? I didn't. Originally, he wasn't. I thought he was, just a science.
Well, he was real excited about, I guess, string theory and things like that. But no, he comments on everything, even things that he's not specialized.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well,
to comment on.
On string theory, I don't know if you've ever looked into it, but there is absolutely nothing better to get excited about than string theory. Whether or not it works, that's another matter. It is a beautiful, beautiful theory. I mean, it's just really, really cool math. Some of the coolest math you will ever see in string theory. So I don't know who wouldn't be excited about string theory.
I mean, it's an elegant idea. Always the important thing to keep in mind is even the most simple and elegant ideas are often wrong.
Yep.
Nature doesn't care about that.
Yeah. But I'm guessing that sometime in the future they're going to find some aspect of that that is going to be important in some future theory. I don't know. But then I don't know shit about it, so what the hell am I talking about? Raggedy ass Rebecca.
Where'd that
What do
go?
we got here? Raggedy ass. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, what do we want to do? Do we want to play Rebecca here? Or
I
God,
suppose we could.
I'm not sure if I can handle it, but we'll try.
Well,
So
luckily it is only
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
6 minutes.
I'm sure that's Rebecca too, but that's Dr. Becky.
That's
Yep.
Dr. Becky.
Yeah.
That's all checked out.
Wrong. No, the
Let me
Reverse
start
model
again.
is what eventually won out because it fit our observations better. It fit the maths all checked out.
wrong. No, the expanding universe model does not fit our data, and it hasn't fit our data for a
Oh,
very long
come
time.
on.
But rather than discard the theory, there have been numerous attempts to salvage this theory by creating hypothetical entities and processes. Since the Hubble telescope, we have known that the galaxy
pause for a
data
second.
does not match.
Eric Lerner.
Doesn't that sound like verbatim, like Eric Lerner, what he said? It almost seems like she's reading from a script, right?
Yeah.
Like that was written by Lerner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got, let's see, when was this paper done here? 2014, UV surface brightness of galaxies.
This paper.
Yeah, and I think that was heavily refuted by a number of people. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have an Oxford-trained astrophysicist, Becky, and then there's a don't know nothing, just reads what she wants to read, Becky, or Rebecca. Who are you going to believe?
Right. Yep. Who, for some reason, has a real axe to grind with the Big Bang. And apparently that has to do with young Earth creationism, right? Because they're afraid that it hurts Yek. But most Christians, could care less. And like those two astronomers in that video I linked to you, or cosmologists or whatever, were saying that they don't really have a vested interest in the Big Bang either. It's just that it turns out to be the best we got right now.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit. In fact, I would prefer an infinite universe, right?
Yeah. Well, like to use an
Infinite.
example, like it's not like one day someone came along and said, well, it wasn't like this. One day someone said, hey, what would be really good is if we invent this idea called dark matter and we use it to explain all these different things and it'll fix everything. Now, it is true that the idea of matter, and of course this was in his language, by Fritz Zwicky back in the 1930s, that was originally proposed by him, but it wasn't in the format we know it as, suggesting along the lines of this gas and dust that we didn't see at that time. In that sense, it would be dark matter. But of course, the idea has a mind. But yeah, it's not like one day astronomers came and came up with all these fudge factors because they don't like it. It's because the data necessitated it, and we had to test it from there. So it's not like you said, we're accepting it on faith or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and dark matter didn't have anything to do with the Big Bang so much as it did with what they observed in galaxies.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
initially at least.
Yeah, she's claiming that it's some excuse for the Big Bang idea.
Yeah.
And the same with dark energy, that it explains something about the expansion, I guess, but it was something we observed that too wouldn't be necessary for the Big Bang. At least
dark matter as an idea was proposed around the 1930s, but it wasn't really accepted then either. It wasn't really accepted much as an idea till the Vera Rubin. and even then, it wasn't until the 60s that the Big Bang as a model was widely accepted either. So it's not like the two were connected that much.
Yeah, and Rebecca likes to say that we made up dark matter in order to shore something up. Actually, there was an empirical observation, and they said, okay, it looks like there's more matter there than we thought. So that's an empirical observation, right? That's not making shit up. I mean, it's like, okay, if you've got a mass that, is of a certain size, and you've observed that gravitation behaves as if that mass was of a certain size, that's an empirical observation. And you'll say, okay, it looks like even though we can't see it or, figure it out, it's there. So, I mean, this is not something that people made up. And that's what she keeps saying.
Either way, there is some extra. There appears to be something there that's causing this extra gravitation. Either it's this particle that we haven't discovered yet, or the laws of gravity are incomplete or currently at galactic scales. But either way, that's still there. It's not like it's going away because we've debunked a particle or something. Although I doubt that will happen.
Yeah, we didn't. And it wasn't just pulled out of our butts to shore something else up, which is kind of what her narrative is. Anyway, okay.
That's the point. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm putting something in the private chat for you there, Speed. It's called Dark Matter is Not a Theory, and it's a video by another astrophysicist
A Collier.
who is qualified and trained in the field. So, anyway, once again, who's going to have the right information? A creationist with an axe to grind, or a PhD in the field who's literally in the field, who works data and does research in the field.
God, I just watched an AIG video. And they were talking about those worms they found that were 48,000 years old that they revived. And they were like, DNA can't last that long, but it could have lasted for 6,000 years. And it's like, wait a minute, she what's her name? Purdom. She says, I know about DNA and it's really fragile and it wouldn't have lasted that long. And then she a little later on she says, well, it could have lasted for 4,000 years or something. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought it was really fragile.
All the conditions under which the DNA is preserved. I mean,
right, exactly. And then
or preserved in ice or something.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to point out is the guy on the right on AIG was talking about the paper, and he pulls out a Bible and he said, this. It's all right here. All you got to do is go right here, and that, all your science is right here in the Bible. And I'm like, really?
Really? Yeah.
I thought even they had given up at that point. Maybe not AIG, I guess.
No, they're never going to give up because they're making money hand over fist.
Yeah, the third book of Worms is really inspiring.
Oh yeah, the third book of Worms tells you all about how long they can last. Oh my. Anyway, okay. We're going.
Expanding universe model.
Well, so one test in particular is that in an expanding universe, the surface brightness of a galaxy, so the amount of light you get per some unit area, decreases with distance. And also distant objects actually appear larger than they should because they used to be closer when the light was first emitted. Whereas in a static universe that's not expanding with tired light causing redshift, the surface brightness should be constant because distant galaxies will be fainter, but they'll also appear smaller to us as well as they get more distance. So that ratio of brightness to area stays the same. That's not what we see in our observations of the distant universe, though. Instead, our observations fit the expanding universe model, and so that would...
Wrong. Now, Dr. Becky is right about what we should see with the Tolman surface brightness test in a expanding versus a non-expanding universe, but she is completely wrong about our actual observations. The Tolman surface brightness test has been a great confirmation of this static
once
universe.
again, Rebecca saying wrong to Dr. Becky is
Really
it's a
disrespectful.
fit. It's not a correction. She's just having a fit
Yeah.
overhearing something that she doesn't like.
I mean, like
Now,
ultimately
Dr.
just
Becky
saying,
could
"Oh,
be
it's
wrong.
wrong." That doesn't mean it. Like you can say that all you
And
want.
Dr. Becky could be wrong about certain facts or whatever, but this Becky or this Rebecca is not the one to correct her. She just does not have the knowledge, does not have the training, instinct. This is a woman who literally reads telescope data so that she can come to conclusions
yep.
and write papers about black holes.
Sorry, can you
And
on that
what
note, can you highlight Stephanie's comment? That's
Poor Stephanie.
funny. I like the creativity.
I'm looking forward to the everything's moving so fast.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
And okay, and I bounced ahead to Rebecca's. What is Rebecca's reference for this? One paper by the infamous Eric Lerner.
Yeah,
One
about
paper.
a crackpot who's looked down upon in the field.
So Rebecca's read this
God, it's
entire
so much.
paper and understood it, and she's read all the other papers and understood them, right? What do you think? Do you think that's true or false? Do you think she's read all the papers? Do you think she has a degree in physics? I don't know.
I mean, she could, and she's just lying about it. But
She's
I'm
got
skeptical.
some kind of a degree in ecology or something like that, or I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I don't know what if she even has a degree. It might be missiology or something.
I think she has a BS degree or a bullshit degree in ecology or something like that. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. But sorry if I'm
Well,
wrong about that.
I think the thing about this Lerner stuff in particular, the two papers she highlighted here, as far as I'm aware, and sources that are commenting on Lerner's work, he compared this tired light model to a model where the galaxies are like actually from us, like they're actually moving through space. That kind of stats technically not expanding.
Yeah.
But as far as actually compare this to the predictions of the expanding picture, the Lambda CDM model, how galaxies should look from that view, because and this as well, because if you actually look at and compare the two, the predictions are the same. So it's not like, oh, the tire wins in this regard in expanding space picture. You need to compare the two. And if you don't, then what do you do?
Yeah. And Dr. Brian Keating and he's had guests on in the video that I'm about to link for you. He talks about Eric Lerner and why Eric Lerner is wrong. And it's really interesting. This guy on the left, I can't pronounce his name.
It was an
for some
actual
reason.
cosmologist.
Actual cosmologist.
Well, they're both.
Yeah, they wrote a book called How to Beat the Big Bang, or the Cosmos Revolutionary's Handbook, and they explain all the things that you have to do in order to disprove the Big Bang, and in order to disprove any kind of physics, you have to do the work. And their point is that Lerner has not done any of that work, and they talk about this for what, an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
I'll just say it. A great book if you're interested in cosmology, highly readable if anyone wants to check out.
I'll see if I can put a link to the book too. So there's one video, and then Brian Keating does another video. This one, The Big Bang Never Happened, a reply to Eric Lerner, and that was from, I think, 11 months ago. So anyway, that is also worth checking out. And I'll put that in the description as well if you want to get to the truth. I mean, like, if there's a creationist listening to this, don't you want to know if any of this bullshit that Rebecca is saying is actually true? Don't you want to go
You'd
check
think
it
so.
out?
All right.
You would think so. So I don't know. I mean, do you just want to listen to her and take her at her word for it? Because she has absolutely zero credentials in this field. She's written zero papers. She has zero reason to believe her just by her word. Go and check it out, for God's sake.
Unfortunately, confirmation bias is, of course, a thing.
Yeah, I guess, well, if you're afraid that your faith is going to be shaken, your faith is going to be shaken anyway. Eventually, your mind is going to say, you know what, these guys are kind of like, they might be lying to me. And that's going to screw your faith all up. So if you want to save your faith in Christianity, stop listening to young earth creationists because they will screw you up.
Yeah. Like you can talk to certain people. Like, I don't know how widespread it is or how common it is, but like, what converted you away from Christianity and listening to young earth creationists and then finding out they're wrong?
Yep. Well, a year ago on Myth Vision, they interviewed a guy named Ben Stanhope who wrote a book about the Creation Museum. And I just want to play what he said about his experience because he was raised as a young earth creationist Baptist of some sort. And he was he actually went to college for theology. And then he eventually converted or left the faith. And here's his experience. I just want you to listen to a few minutes of what he says here.
As a Southern Baptist missionary kid my whole life, my churches, my pastors, most of my professors growing up had taught me Answers in Genesis' absurd worldview, where they treated young earth creation as if it was a respectable option. And the more I fell in love with studying the Hebrew Bible, I haven't criticized the Bible at all, or the Hebrew Bible at all in this presentation. The more I fell in love with evolutionary biology, the more I came to realize that the pastors and institutions that I was raised on, they were just so uncredible. And they were really arrogant. Like, I can remember just all the times they would preach against evolution from the pulpit and like teach these views like very seriously as if they had studied them deeply. Like, it was all fake authority, man. And realizing like the standards of verification that go in my denomination and in evangelicalism in general, like, it created a crisis of faith for me where it's like I respected and looked up to all these people, and now I feel like I can't trust them on anything. They can't interpret the Bible correctly. They're not handling science correctly. And it's just like led to a crisis of faith for me. It led to me feeling extremely, extremely isolated. And like this led me down to a path of leaving Christianity ultimately. Like, thanks, Ken Ham. Thank you, Creation Museum.
There you go. Isn't that kind of powerful?
Yeah. And I do like the quote that he put up there.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I don't
Mr.
know.
Ham, I like to endorse your park.
Yeah, your park. Right, that's pretty good.
And actually has Ken Ham's face on that. That's funny.
Yep. He's got him on there. That's cool. Yes, he has a book too on the young earth creation, and he went through some of their cave paintings and stuff, and they did analysis with X-rays and IR stuff, and I'm going to link that in the description too. But they like one of these things that was supposed to be of a pterodactyl. They actually looked at they separated all the layers, and it turned out to be a drawing of a bunch of people standing around, and it just had nothing to do with the way they had made it look by enhancing the image. Another time, he actually found, okay, and it shows it in this video. There was a supposedly a Australian Aborigine that brought a picture or a painting of some myth that they had about a dinosaur eating somebody, and they were all dancing around the dinosaur, trying to get the person back out of the dinosaur's belly. And that was what they represented. Well, then they found out later that it came from a children's book on dinosaurs that was created in about 1950, and they had traced it. And they actually traced it in the exact size that it was in that book. And they compared it. So they used a children's book, a bad depiction of what dinosaurs look like, right, from 1950. And they actually produce that, and they still talk about it. They still refuse to let it go.
Wow.
Like this is an actual painting we found. Oh my goodness. Okay, more. More Rebecca? You guys are killing me, man. You want more Rebecca?
Expanding universe model.
But I don't just doubt the distances, the high redshifts of these galaxies, but also the calculation of these impossibly high masses as well. I've made a whole video on this before if you want to check
Okay,
it out.
just
But
real
essentially,
quick.
how to convert from how bright a galaxy
They're
Yep.
really suspicious. Rebecca supposedly watched this video, but yet she didn't comment this stuff, like of the uncertainties around these galaxies and even the redshifts, aka distance that they would be found at, which would be supposed age after the Big Bang. But that's a big part of what Dr. Becky taught, and her help but feel that she picked and choose which parts she could respond stuff out.
Yeah, she kind of fast forwarded there a
Yeah.
little bit, right? There was a break. Yeah. Yep. Okay, roll it.
Yeah.
is to how much mass in stars is there by assuming you know how many of each size and type of star there is in that galaxy that are giving out a certain amount of light each. We assume that spread of the type and size of stars is the same as that we see in the Milky Way and in nearby galaxies, but that might be a really bad assumption of what the very early universe was actually like. And it turns out if you just tweak that spread of stars slightly, just to have a few more, bigger, more massive stars that give out a little bit more light, then the galaxies are no longer overmassive and the whole problem goes away.
No, the whole problem doesn't go away. In fact, there are several problems that don't go away. One of them is that those galaxies shouldn't be there at all, according to the Big Bang model. According to the Big Bang model, it would take these galaxies billions of years to form, and yet there they are.
Let's pause on
right?
that screen real quick, because I was a little when I saw that, because okay, time scale here, that's a time scale, right? It's to show the relative lengths of time that these events occur at. It's not a set. Okay, this is how long we right. Like you can look at the actual ages there in the actual literature. Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know. She's trying to make the point that panic from the JWST, right? They're still harping about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And that's been dealt with over the last year so many times, and they're just not hearing. They're not hearing what's going on. Yeah, I don't know where this little diagram came from, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think this
These
like
galaxies.
the text down there looks like it's a general resource about the Big Bang, but like again, a specific calculation of when this was suggested to have occurred, or the actual time lengths. It's a time scale. So.
Yeah, and the formation of galaxies and how they formed is somewhat independent of the expansion theory, right?
Yeah, somewhat. They are kind of related to one another, but yeah, they're
right.
One doesn't, depending on what we're talking about.
So following that link that she has on the bottom there does not give you that diagram?
It
Oh, really?
Really? Well, skyandtelescope.org, astronomy resources, how did the universe begin? I could search for that. Should I play more Becky?
Sure.
More Becky.
More Dr. Becky.
But not Rebecca.
Dr. Becky. Dr. Becky.
Billions of years to form, and yet
We'll call her Dr. Rebecca. How about that? Okay, we'll play Dr. Rebecca.
there they are, right at the beginning of the universe. So there's no solution to that problem right now.
No, they're not.
It's not the beginning of the universe.
No. Okay.
And in addition to that, the galaxies that we're seeing If we add in the expansion calculation, these galaxies are impossibly small and impossibly bright. And here's Eric Lerner telling us something about that.
In the first episode of this series, we showed how the new images from the James Webb Space Telescope and older images from the Hubble Space Telescope both showed that the images of galaxies, as we see them at large redshifts at high distances, are too small for the formula of the Big Bang expanding universe hypothesis. Using those formula, the Big Bang says that these galaxies, which are as massive and luminous as the Milky Way galaxy that we live in, were tiny, hundreds of times smaller in radius than the present-day Milky Way. But the news gets worse for the Big Bang, because it isn't just data from the JWST that's causing the problem. Almost every day there's data from other telescopes that's making these problems worse. And in the case of the SARS data, starting in June of this year, there was data from Earth-based telescope called ALMA, which is a huge array of radio telescopes in the Atacama Desert in Chile, that showed there is an independent measure of radius that contradicts the predictions of the Big Bang. Now, if you calculate from the angular radius, that's what's observed, to the radius of the galaxies, the linear radius in kiloparsecs that they should have if the universe is not expanding, and redshift and distance
Okay, hold on.
linearly proportional.
Rewind for a sec,
Yeah.
or rewind the last few seconds. I just want to make sure I
Oh,
heard him
I
correctly.
thought they were too. I thought they were too big, not too small. But
Well, the argument he's trying to make. Okay, there's this optical illusion that is predicted by the Big Bang model or the expanding model that because they were
they would be big.
closer to us in the
Right.
pure, larger. So then intrinsically they must be really small. These mass calculations are correct, which is a big if, like I was saying. Then they'd be really, really small, but they'd have a lot of mass of stars, basically, like too many to have formed in aperture that quickly. So that's the argument he's basically making.
That's okay, Carol. Anyway, okay. So I rewound a little bit. Let's see if I rewound far enough. Go ahead. I'll do it again for you.
That showed there is an independent measure
Okay.
of radius that contradicts the predictions of the Big Bang. Now, if you calculate from the angular radius, that's what's observed, to the radius of the galaxies, the linear radius in kiloparsecs that they should have if the universe is not expanding, and redshift and distance are linearly proportional at all redshift, and you get the green dots. And as you can see, in each case, the green dots are comfortably above the minimum radius that these galaxies must have.
Wait.
But if you use the
Okay,
Big Bang,
rewind it one.
Okay. How
Is he
far?
saying the angular size? I'm trying to figure out what
the Big Bang.
he's
Now,
saying.
if you calculate from the angular radius, that's what's observed, to the radius of the galaxies, the linear radius in kiloparsecs that they should have if the universe is not expanding, and redshift and distance are linearly proportional at all redshift, and you get the green dots. And as you can see, in each case, the green dots are comfortably above the minimum radius that these galaxies must have. But if you use the Big Bang expanding universe formula, which, as I've explained in previous videos, include this peculiar optical illusion that is caused by the galaxies being closer when they emitted their light, the galaxies are calculated to be 2 to 4 times smaller than the minimum radius.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
those blue dots. So I call these
Okay.
the impossible galaxies.
So I don't.
Yeah,
know
like
much about
I was
that.
saying, this is all assuming that we know the intrinsic size of galaxies, which I mean, even in the local universe, and like I don't know why I have to keep explaining this. Then, like you look at the local, is in like the nearest in any direction. Like you see galaxies of all kinds of sizes, and of course, you do expect galaxies at those high rate smaller because they're young galaxies that are forming. Like, yeah, that the in this calculation is that they're a standard ruler basically, or at least a collection of them are, that they're all basically the same size intrinsically, and that doesn't necessarily hold at different redshifts. So I don't know. I might be wrong on this. Maybe there are out there who have done this calculation. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But I don't, that seems kind of vicious to me.
Well, I posted his video in the description in Possible Galaxies, and I also posted Dr. Becky's whole video that Rebecca's reviewing in the description, so you can check it out and see if Eric Lerner produced, well, to see if he produced any actual papers or he has any data to back up what he's saying.
Yeah.
I've just got to
and
say,
I was accurately representing Dr. Becky's video.
Yeah.
I've just got to say, Dr. Becky is so cute.
Yeah, she's
just a darling.
I like her. She has a good style. I really like her style.
She's pretty.
I won't comment on her looks, but I will comment on her style.
I think she's cute.
God.
And as Pragmatic Crystal is commenting here, yeah, a lot of these galaxies, we just have images of them. So we don't really know very precisely their actual masses or redshifts because we don't have spectra for them yet. And of course, we have to take the images first in order to find them, to like see where they are and where to look exactly. And we can still get some information from that. But yeah, a lot of these conclusions for the JWST galaxies are very premature, and anyone who's saying, oh, there's this impossible, like, this is the big thing about this whole video, and I tried to comment actual video from Rebecca, like, this whole impossible early galaxy problem, it might not even be a problem in the end because we don't have all the data yet. So like, to make these extraordinary claims that, oh, the Big Bang model debunked based on limited data that we haven't cross-checked yet, like, I don't know.
There's your comment, Andrew.
Yeah, there's my comment. Yeah.
You aren't blocked yet. I'm blocked. I feel I'm jealous, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Man.
I didn't.
Or maybe you should be jealous of me. Maybe you should be jealous of me because I managed to get blocked on her Examining Origin site, right? Or is that what this is, or is this one on? Yeah, Examining Origin. Yeah, I can't post here no more. I'm not welcome. She didn't care for my reasoned approach. Anyway, yeah, there's your comment. So,
for some reason, she takes mine, even though I use some of the same language.
I just think that most scientists would be great if the Big Bang model was wrong and they had to find another one. As long as the data supported the new model and fit everything better and had fewer strange, I'm going to say contradictions because I don't know a better word to use right now. Strange anomalies or whatever.
Yeah, anomalies, open questions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, then that would be fine. And I think even Dr. Becky in all her videos and talking about this stuff says, yeah, that's exciting. So what Dr. Rebecca thinks she's doing, I don't know, because it doesn't make the current bunch of scientists scared in their little diapers,
or they're lying or something,
or anything, and it doesn't make her view of God or the universe true, especially since she has probably never read nor interpreted the papers that have been written about the topic. Probably hasn't read one of them in full. So I don't know. I don't know what she's getting at, other than the fact that she's trying to sound smart, sound a little bit mocking, and try to boost the low self-esteem of her listeners and followers.
Yep.
It's the hubris of it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the heart evolution thing. Okay, she posted that little 5 minute thing. How could a heart evolve? Well, if you go out and look at it, right? I found a 1,000 page book on the evolution of the heart written by cardiologists that goes across multiple animals and
Yeah.
explains. There's a really neat statement in there that I'll probably read at some point about how cardiology right now is being highly informed by evolution. And I read it to you, I think, last night, Andrew.
Yeah.
And it's the same bullshit. And that book references, I think, over 1,000 papers. And in one of the papers that was referenced, I found 278 papers referenced in one paper. And they're 21, 22 page papers. And I pulled like 20 of them in 20 minutes and started going over them. We know a tremendous amount. We have a tremendous
Yeah.
amount of evidence about the evolution of hearts. And in fact, we probably know that one more than anything else right now because there's so much research being done on it. Because they're finding information that is informing them about genetic defects in human hearts in the evolutionary history of the genetics, the molecular biology of the evolution. And it is so ignorant to do a 5 minute video where you don't know jack shit about molecular biology or evolution, and you're telling, oh, how did that evolve? And trying to just running a narrative, for God's sake, Dr. Rebecca, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
How could you lie to your people like this? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Do you want to read your comment, Andrew, before it disappears? Before they block you? Can you read that?
I guess I could.
Just for the record, it's up to you. If you don't want it, you don't have to.
If you still have it pulled up right now, read it after this video is done because some of what I say is relevant.
Okay. Good enough.
So,
Good enough.
we'll
go ahead and.
We'll end it with that.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and play.
We're almost done here.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Now, if we just take away the expansion calculation and consider this a static universe, then those galaxies are not impossibly small. They're average galaxies. And the data with the angular diameter also fits better if we just take away the calculation for expansion. So I hope that Dr. Becky and other astrophysicists who support the Big Bang.
Yep.
Okay, so the crucial thing here is that, yeah, it might solve this galaxy issue, but then it whole other can of worms with regard to all other cosmological observations, like how the properties that we see in the CMB get produced. How does the large scale structure of the universe in terms of how all these galaxies connected in these filaments, like how does that form? Like all these questions that are pretty nicely explained with an expanding universe picture, but aren't explained under a static universe. You can't just pick and choose here. You have to consider that is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Just so I understand what's about to happen, Dr. Rebecca is urging Dr. Becky and her colleagues to come around to the right way of thinking about the data that Dr. Rebecca really hasn't studied, and become a believer in a static universe.
Right. As a layman, when I listened to that video by Brian, I forgot his name, the other video, I thought it was Keating. My understanding is that the Big Bang is standing because it matches something 80% or 90% of the data or 70%, and there are some one-off things that they're working out. But basically, until it matches, until all of that is refuted, they're going to keep the model. I mean, it's just what they do, right? And it's just ridiculous. And she wants them to review this one-off cherry-pick data of Eric Lerner and agree with him
Right.
and say, oh, the whole model is gone. But then they got all the other problems that they have to figure out, right?
Right. That's like what I've been trying to tell her. Like, talk about this one thing. You got to deal with all these other things over here first,
Right.
and then move on from that. Like, I mean,
And
that's
it's
what
just-
the book we were talking about earlier. That's the whole point of what they were saying there. Like, how to
Yeah.
to beat the Big Bang, you got to do what it does and then some, basically.
You gotta do the work. You know, it's just let's see, I think I can show that book. There it is. Oh, it's too big. Too big. Too big. What happened? The Cosmic Revolutionary's Handbook. How to beat the Big Bang, and he goes ahead and he explains these two doctors, Luke A. Barnes and how do you pronounce that name? Geraint?
I always pronounce it
I think it's-
Garant.
Yeah, go on.
Garant F. Lewis, Garant F. Lewis, and Luke A. Barnes. So, and anyway, he wrote a book explaining, and the reason they wrote this book is because at every conference they get these people that had this idea that they were going to overturn physics, and they kept repeating the same thing to them over and over again, saying, "That's really good that you have an idea, but you have to do this work, and this work."
Right.
So they wrote a book outlining the work that you have to do. And this is a book that Eric Lerner should probably read before he shoots his
Right.
mouth off. So, anyway.
That was those two guys talking.
No, it's one of them. I think Dr. Lewis was the one
Okay.
that had on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't watched that whole video yet. I kept getting interrupted, but I'm going to definitely watch that.
Yeah, it's this video. Let's see, not that video. Not that video. That video. Okay.
And
this
I
one.
see some good, interesting things. So yeah, I recommend watching.
Oh,
it.
they do. Yeah, and he's got his list of things. I think somewhere that you have to. Somewhere
Based
that'll
Theory
list.
would like to join us.
Do you have them join?
I do.
I'm
Hang on
sure
a
he has
sec.
something he wants to say on this.
Yeah, he's been doing some arguments, I think, about the Big Bang
Yep.
or evolution lately.
He did.
So
Streamline.
debate.
Yep. Okay. I'm sending you a link at this moment. And should I play the rest of Rebecca here while we wait?
Yeah, it's pretty much just her.
Yep. Okay.
Bang model will take the time to really evaluate the data and respond to scientists like Eric Lerner who have presented the evidence that contradicts the expanding universe model and adjust your model accordingly. If you want to hear more about the
should I read
big
my comment
problems with the Big Bang, then check out my other video
She's
on
all
this.
done. Yeah, she's all done.
Yeah, she's pretty
Okay.
much done.
Okay. So let's see. Here's your comment. Okay. Go ahead.
And can you unhighlight
And,
it so I can read it a little better, please?
So Grayson, I sent you a link. So unhighlight it. Okay, I can do that.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. So I just commented they are evaluating now as one reason why these conclusions about early galaxies, quote unquote, debunking the LCDM model are greatly premature. Dr. Becky explains this in detail in part of that video. Did you watch it in it, or were you picking and choosing the parts you felt you could respond to? There are still large uncertainties surrounding these Z=10 galaxies, stellar masses, and redshifts because we only have images, we don't yet have spectroscopic measurements for them. This data takes time to analyze, so in the end there might not even be an impossible early
Boys
galaxy.
and girls, my name is Buddy Davis. Welcome to the workshop today.
I'm sorry.
Explain
you
every
guys-
single. What we're going to be talking about today. Well, we're going to be
What
talking
did I
about
do?
I don't
dragons.
know.
And we're going to fit them into the biblical
Okay, I gotta
framework.
find it.
have a
I
By the
gotta
way,
find
Based Theory is in
Better
the
get
house.
started. I call this here.
Yeah, I was about to say, not my fault. I didn't do anything.
Okay, I was about to blame you.
Right.
Hello, guy with strange. I bet that's a creationist.
I'm sorry
Probably.
there. Okay, we're back on the same page. Hi,
Okay,
Tracy.
and then I just
Yo.
asked her if more data in the months that follow show that early estimates for these galaxies are incorrect and change your mind on this issue.
Yep. And
Yeah,
then you have
not
another comment.
to
Don't
what
go.
I said earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good enough. Hey, what do you got to say for yourself there? Base theory?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has already been said, but the main thing with this is that Eric Lerner is just wrong. I mean, that's his
Yeah.
main thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no one else but Eric Lerner is claiming that these galaxies are impossibly small based on their angular size measurements or something. He's using some formula um, for like a pretty tentative formula. He's saying like this is like the Big Bang formula, but um, again, I don't I don't think that he's using the data correctly or the math correctly on that. I mean, he's posted the link in that Impossible Galaxies video of his. He's posted like 3 archive links.
Yep.
And he's saying like that his data is all his math and data he's gleaming from these links. And I just don't think that the authors of those studies would agree.
Right.
No.
I think he is known for misrepresenting or misunderstanding what some of the data entails.
And yeah, like you said, I mean, the main thing is Eric Lerner's, his attempted explanation for where the cosmic microwave background comes from in a static universe is pretty laughably stupid.
And they don't tend to deal with that anymore. That's what drives me up the walls. They're talking about these galaxies now, but they're not addressing any that cosmology already addresses.
We need a big,
and
we
like
need
the
a big
main
red
thing,
wrong GIF or something for whenever Grayson says that Lerner is wrong. That's what we're missing here.
Wrong.
Well, this is like, I mean, the to think that the James Webb Telescope could disprove the Big Bang is just like fundamentally ridiculous because it literally is not equipped to do that. I mean, to disprove the Big Bang, you would have to be measuring in the microwave spectrum, and obviously this only goes to infrared. So I don't know how you're supposed to disprove the Big Bang while you're only looking in the infrared. Because
observation.
Yeah, if you were like something that would disprove the Big Bang is that if we found galaxies that were more redshifted than the cosmic microwave background, like if we found that we're farther away from the microwave background, then the Big Bang model would be in trouble. But the James Webb is not capable of making.
Heck is going.
Yeah,
And-
like it's fundamentally not capable of making a measurement like that.
Yeah.
Right. And in this video, I believe the one I'm showing right now, Dr. Brian Keating and the other guy talk about that and how the Big Bang, or basically the James Webb Telescope, was not about that anyway. And they explain that, and along with a whole bunch of other stuff they go through. They do a really good job in this video.
I mean, again, like they knew it was going to change some of our understanding of how galaxies work and how they form. Like that's part of the reason why they built it to look into. Of course, it's going to shake some things up, but not the Big Bang theory.
I also just want to say, I don't think it was in this video, but I think in that video that Sal and Rebecca last did together about the Big Bang, Rebecca was saying that when we look back, we don't see all these galaxy mergers. Literally in the paper that Eric Lerner was citing from the ALMA data for like looking between redshift between Z4 and 6, literally in the abstract, it says that the diversity of galaxies indicates that a wide array of physical processes must be at work at this epoch. First and foremost, those of galaxy mergers. Like that's what the data is showing. In like so, and she has literally said that we are not seeing galaxy mergers in this data. So,
well, they have galaxies in the JWST images too, but like for one thing, a lot of them still are very clumpy and irregular. So obviously something there is going on. But another thing is their main point to that is that all of them appear spiral shaped according to them, therefore they couldn't have formed via mergers. But I think there is some research that's been done now that mergers are actually either a significant part or don't affect the spiral structure that much.
Well,
So
in this paper, the ALMA paper that Eric Lerner is using, like the actual data that he's using in this Impossible Galaxy videos, literally 40% of the galaxies that they observed are mergers, like actually in the process of merging. 40% of all the galaxies that they observed.
yeah,
And then,
now, we don't see
20%
any
of them are
mergers.
extended, dispersion dominated, 13% contact, only 11% are rotating disks, and a bigger proportion, 16%, are too faint to be classified. That's the data. So they're just saying, oh yeah, there's too many spiral galaxies. They all look like modern and mature galaxies.
no.
Is just patently wrong.
Like what we talked about the other day, that's not even going into the inner mechanics of how the stars are working in those galaxies. Just like lone isn't the same as modern quote unquote galaxies, whatever that means.
By the way, concerning mergers, in the future, our galaxy, the Milky Way, is going to merge with Andromeda.
Yep.
Which brings both good news and bad news. The bad news is, of course, we'll be colliding with another galaxy. The good news is it's not humans' fault. So, phew.
Yeah.
At least we don't have to feel guilty for that.
We didn't do that.
Well, this has been said other times, but like the space between stars is so vast that it's unlikely any actual star systems will collide. Thank goodness. Yeah.
Although the way they talk about how many rogue planets there probably are out there right now.
Yeah, maybe.
I just wonder, how many rogue planets we're going to pick up because of that. And then, is the next big cosmic disaster going to be caused by a rogue planet instead of a meteor? Thoughts?
Just to give you an idea of the kind of lies these young Earth creationists tell, this is a picture of the children's book on top that they traced to get this supposedly ancient Aboriginal drawing of the dinosaur, basically. And it's the same exact size, and they got caught out on it. And the other thing they point that this Stanhope points out is most of the Hebrew they show in AIG videos, they've got the Hebrew upside down. The books are upside down. They can't even tell when they have the book upside down. That's how little they know about the subject. So, I mean, this is just, and that goes to the quality of the kind of stuff that Rebecca.
And what's weird is they could have just called down a Hebrew expert from a Kentucky institution of higher learning and had that stuff verified. I mean, it's a stupid thing to overlook.
So I think that Eric Lerner is trying to say that when he does this math, he gets a result saying that the total amount of gas in the galaxy is more massive than the total mass of the entire galaxy. But I cannot for the life of me figure out where he's getting the values for like the total mass of the entire galaxy. Like what he thinks that he's getting that from. Because again, I don't think that I don't think that he has the spectral data to support this.
So he's not a good mathematician?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's applying these formulas in the way that the people that actually came up with and used the formulas would agree with.
Yeah, it's like a source or validate your sources. There's a reason why scientists don't listen to or collaborate with certain other scientists. Response?
Well, and there's the fact that I mean, we literally, I think just this last week, a new state-of-the-art simulation modeling of early galaxy formation came out that matches the JWST data like pretty precisely. So, I mean, I mean, it's definitely like the data that he's talking about is improving our understanding of early galaxy formation, but it just has nothing to do with the Big Bang. And I pointed this out to Rebecca numerous times, and she doesn't seem to understand that early galaxy formation is a separate area of knowledge than the Big Bang.
Yeah, the kind of the
Well, she does
demarcation
understand
of
it.
sciences.
She refuses to understand it. I mean, she gets it. She's heard it from myself and numerous cosmologists and astrophysicists. She knows that everyone considers them different fields, but in her video, she continues to conflate them and pretend that data about early galaxy formation somehow says anything about the Big Bang. Like, as long as the cosmic microwave background is still there and is the farthest, most redshifted thing in the universe, then the Big Bang model is not changing anytime soon.
I think what Sal Cordova is saying about the cosmic background radiation is that there's no way to tell if it's local, like in a cluster of galaxies versus the whole universe. That's his escape valve for any answer that has to do with the cosmic background radiation. He's saying it could be different. We don't know that it could be different. Like if you were in a galaxy in a different set of clusters, or in a galaxy in a different cluster than the Milky Way galaxy.
Except that it's uniform to like one part in like 10,000 or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
it's uniform in every direction. If it was caused by something local, then first of all, you have to explain where a local source of microwave radiation, like what mechanism produces that. And then you have to explain why it's so uniform. But then beyond that, you have to understand, like, in the part, like one part in 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever, like the actual anisotropies of it, why do those match our predictions so precisely? Like the power spectrum of the cosmic microwave background is such an exact prediction of like inflation that it would just boggle the mind if it was some sort of local phenomenon and it was just a complete coincidence that the math for inflation in the big, like the early universe, that math precisely predicts the power spectrum observed in the cosmic microwave background. Like that is way too big of a coincidence to make any sense.
Yeah, in Wiki it says basically all you need to know that his ideas have been rejected by mainstream physicists, and cosmologists, and but they're secular. No, they aren't. A lot of them are Christians. They just don't care. The Big Bang being true or not does not affect their Christianity, right? It has nothing to do with it. And these guys are...
Is Lerner a theist?
I think so, but I'm not entirely sure.
The funny thing is that sometimes people will point out, oh well, George Lemaitre was a Catholic priest and he came up with the Big Bang and everything. But funny is that if people know about him, then they'll know that at one point, like he met the Pope, I think. Maybe it was a cardinal or bishop, but I'm pretty sure it was the Pope. And the Pope said, "This is a fantastic. Your Big Bang theory proves God's creation. It proves Genesis." And the Catholic preacher George Lemaitre said, "No, do not say that. Do not say that." He was very much against people trying to say that the Big Bang in any way substantiated Scripture.
Yep.
Somebody calling me a boomer again. What the fuck?
Sorry, I went away for a sec. Were you guys talking about the CMB or something? Sorry, I missed that.
What is a boomer? Well, actually, yeah, I'm part.
Yeah,
of,
you're technically a boomer.
I'm the baby
Speed.
boomer generation, but I mean, Jesus Christ, we invented the whole fucking hippie movement, you assholes. I mean, like, did you not read your history? We set the world on its ear. President Nixon made laws and started the war on drugs because of us. Boomer, my ass. Goddamn people. Goddamn kids today. You know? The fuck. Yeah, it's just, the same with the evolution thing. She kept saying, all she had to say is, there's no evidence. It's like, yeah, there is.
You just start
I mean,
looking.
there's tens of thousands of papers that you can read, and reading them is very difficult. I've spent, the better part of 4 days here reading those papers and getting familiar with the evolution of the heart. And the story is just unbelievably provocative. I mean, it's compelling as hell. Even though we don't know exact. And the other thing that's really evident in the evolution of the heart is that a lot of evolution has gone the other way from complexity to simplicity in the heart.
Yep.
And it goes to show you that evolution doesn't have a direction.
Well, the thing
Creatures that used to have a heart no longer have a heart.
Some that used to have a septum dividing the ventricles no longer have that.
The thing with Rebecca, and she's demonstrated this in a lot of her videos, is just her confirmation bias is so overwhelmingly strong. Like, I've seen her read an abstract of a study that completely disagrees with her, and she'll ignore all the sentences that disagree with her, and then she'll fixate on like a sentence that she thinks agrees with her, and then she'll just say, see, the whole thing agrees with me, and all the data supports me, and there's no data saying otherwise. Like, she'll ignore literally the rest of what the scientists are saying, or she'll ignore the rest of the data. Like, I've sent her things before of like the actual James Webb scientists saying, like, talking about the results, and they're talking about the mergers that are present. They're talking about what they see. They're not describing any impossible galaxies. I mean, all the galaxies they're referring to are very possible, and they're saying definitively, like, it's very silly to think that this possibly overturns the Big Bang. And her response to that was, yeah, I didn't hear anything that disagreed with me. Like, I don't know. The confirmation
She
bias
just
is so
doesn't
strong.
care at this point. That's pretty much it.
I just don't know if she's
she just cares about
capable
what
of processing
confirms
things that disagree with her. And like, if she gets like an abstract, I see creationists do this all the time, where they like underline words like could, probably, might have, and then they say, see, it's all just speculation and nobody really knows.
Language of science, you dorks.
Yeah, exactly.
What dorks?
No, not you, utter dorks.
By the way, I see Snake was right is in the side chat, and I last week I watched a something on Debate Cafe that had Grayson in it, as well as Taylor, and something psychologist, one of the other co-hosts on Debate Cafe, and then was it Tux, Grayson? Was it Tux that you were debating with?
I don't recall, but I know what you're talking about. It was pretty fun.
It was kind of a
It was like a cyanide and happiness based debate internet game.
It was pretty cool. If they do it again, everybody ought to watch it. It's a really smart way to be entertained.
So Maya, I'm not planning on getting out of the way anytime too soon, so sorry. But this boomer's sticking around. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, there was something else. Yeah, lost it. Anyway.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, well, reading the chat. Reading the chat is very distracting, especially when Kafai gets in there and starts talking about his Spinoza God. And so, I haven't seen God yet there, Kafai. I've been working on it, but I haven't seen him. I haven't spotted him. Yeah, I don't know. it just amazes me that there's this group of people that are listening to all these 5-minute video, this 5-minute crap that Rebecca's putting out, and they'll fight with you in chat, and they have really nothing to say. When I tried to comment, I was trying to get Rebecca to reason a little bit about what evidence what would you consider evidence for the evolution of the heart? And I got blocked because I suggested she was being dishonest with herself, or that
Oh,
she.
I got blocked for saying that Sal doesn't understand what he's talking about.
Yep, yep.
She said that I was insulting Sal, so I was blocked.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're really quick to they dropped Dr. Joel Duff because he made some analogy with pornography or something, and Sal can they'll pick something that they can tell the public the reason they blocked you, but the reason they really blocked you is because they want to live in a fucking echo chamber. They don't want to reason about this stuff. And you can't get them to reason. They won't answer your questions. When I asked her over and over again, what would you consider evidence for the evolution of the heart? Because I think what they would consider evidence is if Lenski's bacteria developed a fully functional 4-chamber heart.
Yeah, she actually said
that's what they want. Did she say that out loud? Oh my god.
No, in the comment section, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
where you got
it's just
blocked.
yeah. It's like, is that what you want? I mean, you think that's going to happen? That's not how this stuff works. And it's
And
just
now I'm
a
even
story.
more confused because I've told her and Sal that they don't understand what cosmology, for example, and my
I don't
comments
know.
aren't blocked. Oh dear, am I the
give,
new girl?
Give it time, Andrew. Yeah, you're the kitten of atheists, right? The
Dear.
Andrew, you just can't say that about Sal. I think Rebecca is fine with people saying that about her, but she
That's Sal.
she doesn't want people insulting Sal.
No, I say
Do that to Sal then.
I told her
Because
that
Sal is a precious little teapot.
He must be protected at all costs.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he's very delicate.
He's her expert on all this stuff to talk to.
He's on the edge. He's right on the edge. I hope that man doesn't have access to any weapons. I don't know. He seems like a miserable motherfucker. I don't know. He does seem miserable. But that's what happens when you got the one true belief and nobody else will listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm the one.
You're the lone wolf. You're right. I'm wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Or sorry, I got backward.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Real quick,
Yeah, that's
Grayson, what have you got planned in future YouTube Uverse? I guess we'll call it YouTube Verse.
Well, I'm trying to branch out and do more. I've never done a flat Earth debate, so I'm looking for some flat Earthers. I think that would be fun to debate. I'm getting a little bit bored of the Bible people. I mean, flat Earthers are Bible people, but I'm getting a little bit bored of just the standard young Earth creationists.
Like flat Earth, like that low.
I won't have anything to do with flat earthers. I mean, they don't even get out of the gate. I mean, it's like, but actually, they're very similar to young Earth creationists.
Oh, yeah.
Now, haven't you argued about economic systems with like Leo and some of the people he argues with?
Not that.
Well, I just recently did my first sort of political economic debate with Snake was right. Actually, we debated about libertarianism. That was
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're branching out.
You know, I'm willing to do the political debates more, but it didn't. You know, I mean, it wasn't super well received on the channel. I think most people are on the channel to see me discussing science.
Yeah.
Yeah, politics too. There's so many points of view you have to be aware of to refute anything, and it's a little lax on sourcing because most sources are just opinion.
Yeah.
But I do think that it would be fun to do one of those videos where you go to a Trump rally and interview people and get in some organic conversations that way. I do think that would be fun. I don't know.
Just wear some Kevlar if you go.
Yeah.
I really
I don't
think anybody
So
wanting to
Snake
interview
says he has
MAGA.
a flat earther for you, Grayson.
Oh, Snake does. Is it Howard? Because Howard has been talking a lot of mad shit in the DMs, saying that I'm afraid to debate him and I don't stand a chance. And I keep messaging him, hey, anytime, anywhere, and he says, okay, well, I'm still waiting on Standing for Truth to set it up for us, because the last time that Howard was on Standing for Truth's channel, he almost got demonetized because they were talking about the JQ and vampires and stuff.
Oh,
Oh, good. Snake's Flurf is not Howard.
The one bit of politics that I will get into is this bullshit about the conservatives losing their shit over Pride and trans people, and Pine Creek did some cringy shit. And Stephanie covered it about 4 hours ago, her interaction with Pine Creek. And his whole thing, he was asking for empirical proof that you're trans, right? And like, he wants empirical proof
isn't that kind of
that you,
missing the point, though?
right. Well, it's like asking for empirical proof that you're depressed. Like, okay, can we prove it? Can we put them in a brain scan?
You can do that, though.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but not.
I mean, I have seen studies. I know that they're a little bit controversial studies, but I have seen studies of like trans brain scans.
Oh yeah.
And the results showed that the brains of trans people more closely appeared like the gender they identified as, rather than the gender they were born as. So
we're getting to that point, but it's still not the point. I mean, if somebody comes to you and tells you that they have a particular problem, and you're a psychologist or a doctor, you probably aren't going to go out and try to prove that they have this problem before you help them with the problem, right? Or with the issue that they're presenting to you. And that's kind of like Pine Creek thinks he's got a real gotcha here, because you don't have a definitive, like, you can't go to Walgreens and buy a little strip and pee on it and tell you whether or not you're trans or whether you're depressed or whatever.
Well, there's also plenty of empirical proof that gender is socially constructed. So you could show him the empirical evidence showing that the categories that he's asking for are not biological in nature. I mean, and plus sex is bimodal, not binary in like the field of biology. So there's plenty of empiricism that can be used to demonstrate the validity of trans identities.
Yeah. I also want to mention Deconverted Man. I think he was live overlapping us, so he just did a video. So, anyway, I linked that in the description as well. So those are the things I got today. Anyway, I'm about done. Y'all done?
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for finally showing up there, Grayson. I've been trying to email you and a whole bunch of stuff.
No, you haven't.
I did a while back, and I finally gave up on you. It's like,
well, Grayson, as soon as we close out this particular stream, hang out, don't leave, and in the back room, y'all can make sure you have the right communication information.
Yeah. Everybody should know that if you send an email to answersinatheism@gmail.com, Gmail has made it absolutely impossible for me to access that account. And I've been on the phone with them, and I've been at emails, and they keep telling me, oh, just reset your password. Well, I can't reset my password because they apparently assigned me a password that I never gave them, and I have no access to that. So anyway, it's Mike Brusnak, mike.brusnak@gmail, or speedofsoundofgravity@gmail. Either one of those will work. If you send it to, like, if I send you a Speed of Sound of Gravity email, it wants to reply with Answers in Atheism, and that goes into the internet bucket somewhere out there in the cosmos, and I can never see it. So anyway.
And I just want to announce that if you email criticalbasedinquiries@gmail.com, that my email is working fine, but I still might not reply.
Yeah, I know that. We know
I'm
that.
I'm very bad at replying to
I
emails,
know you
but
are.
it's working. I will receive it.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna end the stream, guys. Okay.
Thanks everybody for being here.
Yep. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
We had a bunch of people here. Goodbye, crew.